We now move to Sean to our final matchup of round 1.
Oh boy.
Coming in at the number 11 seed, perhaps another controversial seeding from your ever so controversial bracket master. This is the Sorcerer at number 11.
Ooh.
And at number 6, maybe the sexiest class in this bracket master's opinion. Don't get too far from the Ranger.
Hold on, we're doing original Ranger?
Because original
Correct.
Ranger is one of the worst. It's like the worst class
They actively have made recent additions and changes to the Ranger
that I
to
think
make
we
them
should use,
pretty
honestly.
significantly different.
So that's 2/3, it would seem like, advocating for this. Mary Lou, what say you?
Yeah.
Then the bracket master sees no problem with that.
Okay, good.
I do
Because I
think
think this
that
makes this a
changes the
more. I think
conversation.
this makes this a more interesting
The
conversation.
bracket master is perhaps subtly revealing throughout this bracket that perhaps he's not as plugged in to the culture of D&D as he was with musicals.
No,
And maybe that's okay.
I
That's
disagree.
okay.
I think that you've been extraordinarily plugged in.
And
Well, that's very
your
kind.
football puns are great.
Basketball, that's
Basketball, my
fine.
friend.
Right.
Right.
So it's the sorcerer versus whatever.
mid-court football shots.
Yeah. Three pointers. You know all those football 3-pointers. Those 3-point
Well, field
conversions.
goals are worth 3 points.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So whatever
So,
ranger means to you
This
all.
is actually interesting because I feel completely the same about both of these classes.
Interesting.
They're like classes that I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. You know, it's like there are a lot of interesting subclasses for both, I think. I think that like the aberrant soul, their aberrant mind sorcerer is really cool. I think the swarm keeper ranger is really
Very
cool.
cool.
I think they're both classes that thrive in flavor. I think the flavor of a ranger is awesome because your animal companion, if you're a beastmaster, can be whatever you fucking want it to be, all right? When you're a sorcerer, it's like your magic can look however you want it to look, and when you access your your points, what are they called?
Sorcery points?
Yeah, your sorcery points. Like it's a fun little extra effect that wizards don't have.
True.
I think they're both very fun classes, and I would not begrudge anyone for wanting to play one over the other. I think I'm gonna just throw it to you guys right now, honestly, to see if you guys have any opinions, and then before I make a decision, honestly.
Do you want vibes or do you want technicals first?
Well,
Right, because that's
You-
sort of what we're providing.
you've
right?
mostly gone. So
I'll
you're technical
probably
and your
give the
vibe.
technicals,
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
Mary
so
will
give
the vibes.
technical first, and then go
and then
vibe.
vibes.
Technicals, I actually feel extraordinarily similar to you. I think that they are both pretty mid-tier classes for me. I might lean Ranger over Sorcerer. I think that what you can do with meta magic is extremely cool. Like twinning spells, distance spells, quickening spells, all that very, very cool. And in the right campaign, amazing. I think that you have to be a little more like constantly in your page and savvy to be a sorcerer, like to be playing a sorcerer.
You do.
Because you're managing spells, you're managing meta magic, like I think sorcerers are a lot less sort of out with the group, whereas a ranger can kind of like they do their thing. They have their handful of spells. They're all good. Like here's my other knock against the sorcerer: the spell selection is so
Low. Very low.
so low.
Yeah.
that it is hard. Like if you don't have a concept that you're locked into on a sorcerer, you're gonna feel like you're playing with one hand behind your back. Whereas I think the spells that rangers give you anything that you would need to be a ranger, and I think that the subclasses for ranger are more varied and interesting than the subclasses for sorcerer. I think if we were doing old school ranger, it's not even a competition.
not even
Sorcerer
close.
blows it out of the water. But I do think that recent additions to the ranger have made it a very fun, cool class.
Vibe check. From
Vibe
Mary
check
Lou.
from Mary Lou.
Vibes wise, I think Sorcerer is absolutely the coolest class in the game.
Sure.
Vibes wise, sorcerers to me are my favorite class because they are what you're just like naturally brimming with magic. It just like bursts out of your body. That's so cool with either wild magic or like
Yeah, they don't get their magic from nobody else.
they don't get their magic from nobody else.
And
it's
we've
just
established
you.
that is important to you.
That is important
until
to
it
me.
is not.
And what until it's not. And what Gabe said about like you can have a really strong concept for your sorcerer.
that's true.
Like, where does your power come from? Is it demonic? Is it draconic? Like, are you fire, or maybe you're storm and wind and lightning, or maybe it's just
Storm
completely
sorcery is very cool.
chaos or anything like that. I think a sorcerer is just so badass as a magic caster. Warlocks get their power from some patron. I find that infantilizing.
Abhorrent, as we know, yeah.
I find that infantilizing. Wizards get their power from a book. Okay, nerd. And sorcerers get their power from just their inherent magical, like, prowess. I don't know. I think that's really cool.
Now,
Rangers.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Rangers are very sexy.
Yeah.
I think when I think Ranger, I think Aragorn. Objectively, the sexiest character I think in modern history.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as a class, vibes wise, the lone wolf thing.
Quick shout out for the BM. This might be a different bracket somewhere in the future. Who is the
sexiest
modern
D&D class or sexiest?
I was gonna say sexiest modern
in
character
modern history.
Yeah.
That is huge, but
Yeah.
I accept.
Put that in your back pocket.
Just pocket it.
The lone wolf thing to me not very compelling. Rangers just like go out in the forest by themselves and either hang out with their wolf or like just like the night. I don't know. I find that a little less compelling para mí, for moi.
Yeah, I think
moi.
that might be a bit of a hot take. I feel like a lot of modern culture does find lone wolves sexy.
They
and
do,
interesting.
and I think that's boring.
Interesting.
Okay, so here's what I'll say about the points you brought up. First, in regards to sorcerers are natural brimming power, and that's cool. Yes, I think mechanically that is one way that I'm like, this kind of fucks me up every single time. Sorcerers should be con-based spellcasting, not charisma-based spellcasting.
Hot take,
Yeah.
but I agree.
It just doesn't make sense that
Flavor-wise,
their
that makes sense to me.
charisma spell casting. It doesn't matter if they're charisma.
There's
they
enough
have the
charisma
power.
casters in the game.
Exactly. There's too much. In terms of the lone wolf scenario, I think yes, that's true. But you don't. Rangers aren't your only choice, and also being a lone wolf isn't your only choice that you have to do. And I think for the people that do want to be lone wolves, Ranger is a good option for those people. It's like it's naturally like, yeah, you weren't.
Makes sense.
It makes sense if if that's something a route you want to go down.
Yeah.
All this to say, I agree. I think honestly, I would in a campaign probably play a sorcerer because of that flavor added to it of like where working with the DM to be like, where does this power come from? And maybe like, I don't really know. And that's like my exploration to try and figure out where this power comes from and everything. That being said, I think basically sorcerers remind me of wizards, right? With
Yes.
little flair. Rangers remind me of druids with a little flair. Maybe like druid fighter flair kind of thing. I think as just like, as something that's a little bit of like an intro class that's like isn't super complicated or anything, that you can do a bunch of stuff and be cool about it. I think Ranger is a great class, and so I'm gonna go Ranger for this.
I'm fine with that. I don't have a veto, so I can't do anything about it. But I'm just saying for the record that I'm
Gabe,
fine with
you
that.
do, I believe.
I do have a veto. I am also fine with it. I have no problem with Ranger taking over Sorcerer.
And the Bracket-Master agrees, and thus the lone wolf, the sharpshooter, Steph Curry with a bow and arrow, my favorite football player, takes it. And that is the end of round 1.
Go Lasso!